Yeah, I don't think life is worth living unless you're doing something you love completely, so that you get out of bed in the morning and want to rush to do it.
Anyone doesn't believe in you and your future, to hell with them. Huh? The important thing in life is to follow your passion.
It should have nothing to do with money. It should have to do with being in love with something.
Give us a very strong impression you love your work.
Oh, intensely. I wouldn't be in it. If I ever stop loving it, I'll shift it and go over into something else. And I have so many loves, though. So.
Do you think this is important for all of us, to work in something that gives us this kind of deep satisfaction, what you describe as love?
Yeah, I don't think life is worth living unless you're doing something you love completely, so that you get out of bed in the morning and want to rush to do it. If you're doing something mediocre, if you're doing something to fill in time, life really isn't worth living. I can't understand people not living at the top of their emotions constantly, living with their enthusiasms, living with some sense of joy, some sense of creativity. I don't care on how small a level it is. If you're a mathematician and love figures, great, you know. I don't understand that. I've never been any good at figures. But if you love it and you tell me you love it, boy, are you lucky. I don't care what field it is, though. And there's got to be a field for everyone, doesn't there? Even raising children, which is not supposed to be in these days, huh? No. But why can't one love that, huh? Why can't one love that?
Get rid of those friends of yours who make fun of you and don't believe in you. And when you leave here tonight, go home, make a phone call, and fire them. Anyone doesn't believe in you and your future, to hell with them. Huh? I've had my fill of that. I had people I thought were my friends, but secretly they thought I was a nerd, because I wanted to be a writer. I sold newspapers on a street corner from the time I was 19 till I was 21. I made $10 a week. This is back in 1939, 1940, 41. People came by my corner and said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Becoming a writer." They said, "You don't look like one." I said, "Yeah, but I feel like one." Huh? The important thing in life is to follow your passion, no matter what it is, for whatever mysterious reasons. I had this passion, this dedication to be something, to do something with my writing. I'm very proud to look back to my blue and white annual when I graduated from LA High School in summer 1938, when I was 17 years old. They asked me how I was going to predict my future, and underneath my picture, I had them put, "Headed for literary distinction." How in hell did I know that? How in hell did I know that? Because I was nowhere. I was nowhere at all. But I had to make it happen. I had to believe in my passion. I wrote a short story recently about a young man I met when I was 30 years old, and he was 21. He was a genius. He wrote fantastic short stories. I took his short stories, I sent them out to the magazines, I sold them all immediately. But he went in the Navy, he went away, and I didn't see him for 20 or 30 years. And about 15 years ago, an old man came up to me at a book signing, and he said to me, "Do you know who I am?" I said, "No," I didn't recognize him. He told me who he was. That was that young boy of 20 and 21 who was a genius. And I said, "You son of a bitch, what have you done with your life, What have you done with your life?" He stopped. He didn't listen to the God-given gift of genetics in his blood. He didn't follow his dream. And here he was now, an old man, with nothing, with nothing. I said, "You get the hell out of here this afternoon and you go write another short story and get your career started again." He left that encounter with me blasted by my fury, and he went home and wrote a short story and sent it to me, and I sold it. 20 years from now, I'll be 100, but I'm still going to be alive, and I'm going to meet a lot of you. And I hope I'm not going to say to you, "You son of a bitch, what have you done with your lives?" Whatever it is, do it.
Tonight, when you get in bed, look at the ceiling and say to yourself, "What do I love? What can I do that I love for the rest of my life?" And have a happy life every single day of that life. That's what I want to teach you. When I was very young, people told me not to fall in love with the motion picture of Lon Chaney. I fell in love with the Phantom of the Opera, and many of the other Lon Chaney films. People told me not to fall in love with dinosaurs. I saw them in early films. People told me not to become a magician, but I came to Chicago once a year when I was a young man, when I was 7, 8 years old, to see Blackstone the magician on the stage there. And I grew up, and I did it, didn't I? I became a magician. I can tell you, I can do anything. I can convince you that I'll do it. So very late in life, I am a magician. When I was 9 years old, I fell in love with the stories of Edgar Allan Poe. People told me not to pay attention to Edgar Allan Poe, but I loved him so much that I wrote my early short stories for Weird Tales and sent them off. So my first book is a book of Edgar Allan Poe stories, very much like him. When an issue of Edgar Allan Poe stamps came out a few weeks ago, I went out and bought 300 of them and put them on my envelopes. And underneath I said, "This is my father. This is my papa." So Edgar Allan Poe told me what to do. And along the way, people told me not to fall in love with all kinds of movies. So I've seen every movie ever made. And when I grew up, I began to be interested in doing films. My love of dinosaurs is quite obvious, and I wrote about dinosaurs in my various books, and I gave one of those books to John Huston, the great film director, and he read one of my dinosaur stories and said, "My God, this has got to be the son of Herman Melville. I'll give him the job of writing the screenplay of Moby Dick." So you see, that's the way I got the job. By falling in love with dinosaurs when I was 6, it stayed with me all of my life and changed my life. So you see, it was love that was making me function all the time. Love operates for me. I do things what I want. What you've got to do tonight when you're in bed looking at the ceiling, saying it should have nothing to do with money, it should have to do with being in love with something. If people come to you and offer you money that's identical with being in love with something, you can take the job. Otherwise, don't take it. In recent months, the French government came to me and they brought me a medal. I brought it to me and gave it to me at a special dinner. I'm now a commander in the Order of Arts and Letters for all of France and all of Paris. And now that I'm a commander, I command you to love life and love it forever and travel with me to the moon and back to Mars again and again, because your future is on the moon and on the Mars, and I'll go along with you. And I command you to do this. God bless you, and thank you.